The studio lights dimmed as Jimmy Fallon's replacement, Marcus Chen, stepped onto the Tonight Show stage. His signature smirk played across his face as he adjusted his platinum cufflinks, a nervous tic viewers had come to recognize during his meteoric rise to late-night stardom. The audience, packed into NBC's Studio 6B at 30 Rockefeller Center, held their breath. They'd grown accustomed to Chen's boundary-pushing humor, but tonight would cross a line that would shake the entertainment industry to its core. "You know who's making headlines again?" Chen's voice carried that distinctive edge that had made him famous. "Barron Trump. Kid just got early admission to MIT. Guess when your dad tries to overthrow democracy, they throw in a physics degree as a consolation prize." The joke landed like a grenade in the studio. Some audience members laughed nervously, others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. In the control room, executive producer Sarah Martinez's face went pale. She'd warned Chen about this bit, but he'd insisted. "Trust me," he'd said during rehearsal, "this will go viral." He was right about that part. 3,000 miles away, in the carefully guarded sanctuary of her Palm Beach estate, Melania Trump watched the clip on her iPad, her hands trembling with a rage she hadn't felt since January 6th. For years, she'd maintained her composure through countless attacks, controversies, and headlines. But this was different. This wasn't about politics, power, or her husband's latest scandal. This was about her son, the one part of her life she'd fought desperately to keep sacred. "They've gone too far," she whispered, her Slovenian accent more pronounced in her anger. Her finger hovered over her phone, ready to call the family attorneys. But something stopped her. The usual playbook, threatening letters, public statements, Twitter wars, suddenly felt insufficient. The world had changed since her days in the White House. Social media had grown more vicious, comedy more caustic, and the line between entertainment and cruelty had blurred beyond recognition. Melania spent the night pacing her marble floors, her mind racing through possibilities. By sunrise, she'd made a decision that would send shockwaves through the entertainment industry and spark a national conversation about the true cost of a laugh. Within hours, her team contacted Regina Washington, a formidable civil rights attorney known for taking on tech giants and media conglomerates. Washington had never lost a case involving minors' rights, and she saw in Barron's situation a chance to address a growing crisis in American culture. "Mrs. Trump," Washington said during their first meeting, her voice carrying the weight of 2 decades in courtrooms, "this isn't just about your son anymore. This is about every child who's been sacrificed on the altar of ratings and retweets." The lawsuit they filed the next morning was unlike anything the entertainment industry had seen before. It didn't just target Chen or NBC. It challenged the entire ecosystem of contemporary comedy that had increasingly relied on targeting vulnerable individuals for laughs. But as their legal strategy took shape, neither Melania nor her attorney could have anticipated the explosive revelation that would transform their case from a simple defamation suit into a watershed moment in American cultural history. Behind the scenes at NBC, panic spread through the executive suites. Internal messages flew back and forth between lawyers, producers, and network heads. Someone had kept receipts, digital breadcrumbs that would expose not just a thoughtless joke, but a calculated campaign to boost ratings through manufactured controversy. Chen maintained his defiant stance, defending his comedy on every platform that would have him. "What's next?" he asked during a podcast appearance. "We can't joke about anything anymore? Welcome to the death of comedy, courtesy of the Trump family." But as he spoke those words, a former Tonight Show employee named William Carter sat in his Brooklyn apartment, staring at a folder of emails that would change everything. His hands shook as he forwarded them to his attorney. After 5 years of witnessing the show's toxic culture firsthand, he'd finally found the courage to speak up. The stage was set for a battle that would force America to confront uncomfortable questions about entertainment, ethics, and the human cost of viral content. As the case moved toward its first hearing, no one could predict how a single joke would unleash a chain of events that would reshape the landscape of American entertainment forever. The Los Angeles County Superior Court buzzed with anticipation on the trial's opening day. Security personnel struggled to manage the crowd as protesters from both sides clashed on the courthouse steps. Some carried signs reading "Protect Our Children," while others waved banners declaring "Save Comedy." The culture war that had been brewing online was now spilling onto the streets. Inside courtroom 42, Regina Washington stood before Judge Elena Rodriguez, her voice steady as she delivered an opening statement that would be quoted in law schools for years to come. "This case isn't about stifling creativity or censoring comedy," she began, her words measured and clear. "It's about a multi-billion-dollar industry that has normalized the exploitation of children for profit." As she spoke, Melania Trump sat in the front row, her face a mask of composure. Next to her was an empty seat. Barron had chosen to stay away from the proceedings, a decision that spoke volumes about the toll this incident had taken on him. His absence became a powerful symbol that even Washington's skilled rhetoric couldn't match. Marcus Chen's defense team, led by First Amendment specialist David Cohen, presented their client as a passionate artist, pushing against the boundaries of political correctness. "If we start punishing comedians for jokes," Cohen argued, "we might as well close every comedy club in America." Chen nodded along, his trademark smirk notably absent. But on day 3 of the trial, everything changed. William Carter took the stand, and the smirk disappeared completely from Chen's face. Carter, a former segment producer for The Tonight Show, opened his testimony with a bombshell. The joke about Barron Trump wasn't spontaneous, he revealed, his voice shaking slightly. It was part of a carefully orchestrated campaign called Project Lightning Rod. He proceeded to present emails, meeting notes, and internal memos that painted a disturbing picture of modern entertainment. The documents revealed a systematic approach to manufacturing viral moments. Network executives had developed a formula: target vulnerable individuals connected to controversial figures, push the boundaries of acceptable comedy, and ride the wave of outrage to higher ratings. They'd even calculated the optimal level of controversy needed to maximize social media engagement without triggering serious legal consequences. One particularly damning email from Sarah Martinez, the show's executive producer, read, "The BT joke is perfect. His mom will probably complain, but that's exactly what we want. Controversy equals clicks equals cash. Besides, they're used to it by now." The courtroom fell silent as Washington projected another email on the screen, this one from Chen himself. "I know it's harsh, but the kid's fair game. His father's trying to destroy democracy. Are we really supposed to worry about his feelings?" Chen's defense team scrambled to contain the damage, arguing that these private communications were taken out of context, but the evidence kept mounting. Carter revealed that the network had even developed a ranking system for potential targets, with factors like age, public visibility, and potential for viral outrage all carefully weighted. As the testimony continued, something unexpected happened. The case transcended its initial scope and became a referendum on the attention economy itself. Experts from various fields, child psychologists, media scholars, former content moderators, took the stand to describe how the pursuit of viral moments was reshaping society's moral compass. Dr. Sarah Chena Martinez, no relation to the producer, a leading researcher in adolescent psychology, testified about the lasting impact of public humiliation on young minds. "When we turn children into punchlines," she explained, "we're not just getting laughs. We're potentially altering the course of their emotional development." The defense tried to paint Carter as a disgruntled ex-employee, but his testimony was too detailed, too well documented to dismiss. During cross-examination, he revealed his own struggle with the industry's ethics. "I couldn't sleep at night," he admitted. "We were literally having meetings about how to maximize the psychological impact of our content." Outside the courthouse, the story sparked a broader conversation. Parents began sharing stories of their own children's experiences with viral humiliation. Comedians started debating the ethics of their craft. Social media platforms faced renewed scrutiny over their role in amplifying harmful content. As the trial entered its second week, a new piece of evidence emerged that would transform the case from a legal battle into a movement. An internal presentation titled Engagement Optimization Strategies detailed how the network had studied the psychological vulnerabilities of various demographic groups to create more sticky content. The revelation sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Other networks began conducting internal reviews, worried that similar documents might exist in their archives. Late-night hosts across all channels notably softened their approach to comedy, especially regarding jokes about public figures' children. But for Melania Trump, watching from her seat in the courtroom, this was never about changing the industry. It was about protecting her son, and as the trial reached its climax, she would finally have her chance to speak. On the trial's final day, the air in courtroom 42 crackled with tension. After weeks of testimony, thousands of documents, and dozens of witnesses, Judge Rodriguez granted Melania Trump's request to address the court. The former First Lady rose slowly, her designer suit immaculate as always, but her practiced composure showed subtle cracks. "I have been silent for too long," she began, her accent lending gravity to each word. "Many people think that because we lived in the White House, because we chose a public life, our children are somehow fair game. They say we should expect this. They say we should develop thicker skin." She paused, her eyes sweeping across the courtroom. But no mother should ever have to tell her child to accept being bullied for entertainment. The silence in the courtroom was absolute as she continued. "My son didn't choose this life. He didn't run for office. He didn't seek fame. He is a young man trying to build his own path, and every time he takes a step forward, someone tries to turn him into a punchline for profit." Her testimony marked a turning point. Even Marcus Chen, who had maintained his defiant stance throughout the trial, seemed to shrink in his chair. The calculated smirk that had become his trademark was replaced by something that looked remarkably like shame. Silence came over the group as the judge closed the statement by saying, "When the verdict came down 3 days later, it exceeded everyone's expectations." Judge Rodriguez not only ruled in Melania's favor but used the case to establish new legal precedents. The network was ordered to pay $45 million in damages, but more significantly, the judge mandated the creation of an independent ethics board to review content involving minors across all NBC programming. "The evidence presented in this case reveals a disturbing trend in contemporary entertainment," Judge Rodriguez wrote in her decision. "When the pursuit of viral moments supersedes basic human dignity, when we commodify the humiliation of children for ratings, we have lost our way as a society. This must stop." The ripple effects were immediate and far-reaching. Within hours of the verdict, other networks began announcing sweeping changes to their content policies. Comedy Central introduced mandatory sensitivity training for all writers and performers. Saturday Night Live publicly pledged never to target underage children of public figures in their sketches. But the most profound changes happened beyond the entertainment industry. Schools across the country began incorporating the case into their discussions about digital citizenship and online ethics. Silicon Valley companies faced renewed pressure to address their algorithms' role in amplifying harmful content. The term engagement ethics entered the public lexicon. Marcus Chen's career never recovered from the scandal. His show's ratings plummeted, and 6 months later NBC quietly replaced him with a comedian known for more thoughtful, nuanced humor. Chen's final broadcast was a humbling affair, featuring a lengthy apology and a promise to do better, be better. William Carter, whose testimony had blown the case wide open, emerged as an unlikely advocate for industry reform. His whistleblowing inspired others to come forward with similar stories from different networks and platforms. He founded the Digital Ethics Institute, which now works with entertainment companies to develop more responsible content strategies. The interesting thing of all this was that whatever worked to repress the stories had little effect on their release. For Barron Trump, the case's resolution brought a measure of peace. In his first and only public statement about the trial, released through his mother's attorney, he expressed hope that the outcome would protect other young people from similar experiences. "No one should have to grow up feeling like a target," he wrote. "Fame shouldn't be a sentence to endless ridicule." Melania Trump used the momentum from her victory to establish the Digital Dignity Foundation, an organization dedicated to protecting young people from online harassment and exploitation. The foundation's first initiative was a comprehensive study of how viral entertainment culture affects adolescent mental health. 1 year after the verdict, Regina Washington gave a TED Talk that went viral for all the right reasons. "We didn't just win a lawsuit," she explained to the rapt audience. "We sparked a conversation about what kind of society we want to be. Are we willing to sacrifice our children's well-being for a few minutes of entertainment? Are we ready to mistake cruelty for creativity?" The case is now taught in law schools alongside landmark First Amendment decisions, but its impact extends far beyond legal circles. It forced America to confront uncomfortable questions about entertainment, ethics, and the human cost of viral content. It reminded us that behind every headline, every joke, and every meme, there are real people with real feelings. Today, a framed copy of Judge Rodriguez's decision hangs in Melania Trump's office in Palm Beach. The final paragraph is highlighted. "In an age where attention is currency and outrage is profitable, we must remember that our humanity is not for sale. The right to make people laugh does not include the right to make children cry." The story of how a single joke led to a cultural revolution continues to resonate. It stands as a reminder that sometimes the most important changes come not from grand political movements or technological innovations, but from a mother's determination to protect her child from harm. In forcing us to examine the true price of a laugh, it helped us rediscover the value of compassion.